Welcome. Thank you for joining me. Hey, yes, I'm going to be here sharing with you guys today. I know a lot of you, if you're in your own business and you're actually looking for outside help with some of the tasks within your business, sometimes it's kind of confusing as to classifying someone as an employee versus independent contractor. Hey, I know it's been a while, right? I'm back. I'm trying to hold me committed to this. What's your name? Hold me committed. I'm going to try and do this every day. Well, Monday through Friday. Because I have a lot of tips that I want to share with you guys. And actually what I'm doing is a 30-day bookkeeping tip. So every day for 30 days, Monday through Friday, I'm going to be here giving you guys bookkeeping tips on things that you can do in your business, why you need to do bookkeeping, things that you need to track, things that's associated with filing your taxes, how to be more profitable, save more of the money that you make, how to keep, more of the money you make and things like that. Oh, my kids are coming in from school and my grandbabies. Hi. So they're all coming in from school right now. Who knew they'd be back so early? Thank you for sharing. Yes, thank you for sharing. So definitely, and thank you for inviting your followers. I appreciate that. Yes, definitely. If you know someone else that's in business, share this scope because I can tell you that most people need to know this. They don't know most of these things that I'm going to be sharing and they need to know. And here it is, free information. So come join me, invite the world. All right. So I just wanted to give people a chance to jump on and, come join us on this scope. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Felicia Streeter with Dream for Self Business Services. And what I do is I help you track your money. And that in turn allow you to keep more of the money you make. Who doesn't want to do that? So we're all about taking a portion of the money that you make, setting it aside for your profits. We're all about tracking your income, your expenses, and all of those wonderful things that makes your business go around. Everything revolves right back to the money, right? So what I want to share with you today is bookkeeping tip number 1, and we're going to be talking about employee versus independent contractor. Well, great. I'm glad you can use some tips. So here's the thing. I want to share with you how you can kind of look at this, and there's no fine line to determine whether to classify someone as an employee or independent contractor. So I'm also going to give you a resource to go look because the IRS is the one that mandates this, and so you always want to make sure you're in compliance with that. So just to give you an overview about that, let's look at employee and why we want to look at that. Because if you classify wrong and say you go, you hire someone and you classify them, whether it's employee or independent contractor, and especially if you classify someone as an independent contractor and they really should have been an employee, what happens is if the IRS finds out, you'll be paying penalties and fines, and they go all the way back to the beginning. So you're talking years and years of penalties and fines that you can be imposed with. And what happens is a lot of times for small businesses, which is most of the people in the community here that watches this, it will put you out of business. So it's a very, very important thing. It's minute in that most of the time we don't think about it, but it is something that you need to know. So let's dive into that. So that's why you need to know, because it will cost you money. And I'm all about helping you track and keep more of the money you make. So again, that's why it's important, right? We want to keep more of our money and definitely stay in business as well. So you don't want to lose your business to the IRS because you can't afford to pay back penalties and taxes. All right. So I shared that, and I have notes here because I want to make sure I get the part right with the IRS. So the IRS looks at it this way. It's not about the time commitment, but it's more so about the relationship. And so a lot of times people will look at it and they think, well, I have them working 40 hours because that's the norm, right? Then they should be an employee per se. And that's not necessarily the case. They look at the relationship. So diving into the relationship, you have some things that you can outline. And so you might want to write this down, or you can always come back and watch the replay, right? Okay, so here's what they talk about here. when you're hiring someone, you usually have where you're going to say what task you're going to have them do. If you may have set hours that you want them to work, maybe they can only work during set hours. You're going to pay them a certain rate, things like that. So those are some of the things that you'll determine, right, when you're getting ready to hire someone. And so then you want to ask yourself further, who controls the outcome of the task that you're going to have them do, right? So for example, say you hire someone and you want them to go paint a building for you, for example. So you're going to hire someone to paint a building for you. And you're going to pay them $1,000. Let's keep numbers easy. So you're going to pay them $1,000 to paint a building for you. You're not going to supply them any materials. You don't care what time they go do it. You really don't care how long it takes them, but you're really just paying them to give you an end result. Then that would be an independent contractor, right? Yes, that's an independent contractor. On the other hand, say if you're hiring someone, same job, so you're going to hire them to paint a building, and you say you have to be here. You have to be here 8 o'clock every morning, Monday through Friday, from 8 to 5. And I want you to paint this building. Those are the hours. You can have a 30-minute lunch. I'm going to supply the materials. I'm going to supply any equipment you need, right? So now you're starting to dictate more so than just the outcome, but how they go about doing it. So when you start doing that, where you have more control over the situation, over the environment, then that's an employee. So a lot of times people try to do, how do I want to say it? They try to get away with not classifying people as employees because of, you have to pay, you have the Affordable Health Care Act. So if you have so many employees, you have to do that. You have to pay workers' comp. You have to have, a lot of times liability insurance and all these other things associated with having employees, which is an investment. It costs money. And so the short of that is a lot of times people will do the independent contractor route because they look at it, the bottom line is cheaper. You don't have to pay any FICA, all that extra federal tax stuff that you have to pay. You don't have to worry about that when they're an independent contractor. Okay, so let me share with you briefly what the IRS says. So the way they read it, and I gave you my version, so now I want to recap it for you so that you just have a clear understanding. I'm reading it how they say it. So the general rule is that an individual is an independent contractor if you, the person for whom the services are being performed, have the right to control or direct only the result of the work, right? Only the result of the work, and not the means and methods of accomplishing the result. So what they're saying, in other words, is if you are hiring the individual to accomplish a defined end result for a set agreed amount of money, regardless of how long it takes, how many hours, or by what methods they use to complete the task, then you can label that person as an independent contractor. Okay? But if you have control over what will be done and how it would be done, then even when you give the employee freedom of act, that type of worker would be an employee. So although you may give them freedom in how they may do some things, but you're still controlling their time, their work hours, and things like that, that's an employee. So here's 3 questions you can ask yourself. Do you have to be bonded and insured to have independent contract? It depends on what business you're in. So if you can type in what business you're in, I can maybe help you answer that question. In most cases, you don't, but when you get into construction, some trade contractor type things, a lot of times you may need bonding, and you may need some general liability insurance as well. So it's a different ball game when you go into construction. And I know that because for over 10 years I had a construction company. So, and we did about 99% federal contracting with the government. And so, yes, we had to be bonded. We had to have insurance. Yes, in order to even get a contract, we had to have those things. Okay, so here's the 3 questions I want to share with you that you can ask yourself in determining how to classify employee versus independent contractor. Okay, so here's a behavioral question. Does the excuse me, you can say, does the company or do you control or have the right to control what the worker does and how the worker does his or her job? So that would be like a yes or no. Here's a financial question. Are the business aspects of the worker's job, meaning how the worker is paid, whether expenses are reimbursed, who provides the tools, supplies, and things like that, controlled by the payer, meaning the employer? Okay? And then this is a relationship question. Are there written contracts or employee type benefits? So are you paying pension plans? Do you have insurance, vacation pay, things like that? Will the relationship continue, and is the work performed as a key aspect of the business? So those are a few of the questions that you can ask yourself to determine whether employee or independent contractor. All right, so that was bookkeeping tip number 1, how to classify independent contractors versus employees. And as always, if you have any other additional questions, definitely you can reach out to me. I hang out a lot on Facebook. You can find me over on Facebook on my fan page, which is facebook.com, Dream for Self, the number 1 at the end. Or you can just look at my name, Felicia Streeter, and it will connect you to my fan page. So you can message me even, PM me over on Facebook. Or you can always reach out to me via email and things like that. So I am a resource for you as far as your money tracking and bookkeeping and keeping more of the money you make. So I appreciate you guys coming to join me for the bookkeeping tip today. And I invite you to come back out tomorrow for bookkeeping tip number 2. And other than that, I hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to having you back here tomorrow. And just before I go, let me just say, I didn't say this, but I appreciate the hearts. So I appreciate that. Love the hearts. Let me know that what I'm sharing you want to hear. So I appreciate that. And you can definitely still give hearts on the replay. So I appreciate that, as well as you can still share. All right. So other than that, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow with bookkeeping tip number 2. Have an awesome rest of your day. Bye-bye.